Hello, everyone. First of all, a big round of applause for our first time authors, including myself, Anvita, and Captain Manisha Puri. So, we are here today to talk about Manisha Puri's book, which is From Saris to Stripes, and Anvita's book, Beauty Queen. As first time authors, the first question would be about your life's journey. And I would like to understand your experiences and how your life's journey made you to pen down this book and later publish it as well. So anyone?
Good evening to you all. I'm very excited being sitting here as a first-time author. It took me a lot of dedication and pain to write this book, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I'm sure when you guys look it around, and you would be very happy to pick it up and go through it. As Shalaka has asked about the inspiration. You know, whenever I went out meeting friends and families over occasions, and every time people would get to know I'm flying, I'm a pilot, and they would come, oh, wow, really? We heard you were a pilot. Do you really fly planes? I said, I guess pilots do that. And so that's how, it felt very strange. And whenever I would tell them, oh, I've been flying for more than 30 years, they said, are you serious? I mean, women are flying planes since so long. I said, yes, women have been flying in India in commercial airlines since 1966. And I'm sure a lot of you sitting here are not even born at that time and don't even know that women have been flying. But yes, we have been, and we made a mark around the world. Women in India have really broken world records, which none of the people outside seem to know. And so my inspiration to write. I said, I want people in India to know where women have reached. And I'm sure every field women have reached on top, and this being one of them. We have reached the skies, and I'm sure the generation sitting here would reach much higher than we have managed to do. And that was the inspiration. And why? That's a bigger answer, because I thank all my seniors, those girls who really broke the glass ceiling and made a little smoother road for us to be sitting in the cockpit of a commercial airline, flying all aircrafts across the boat, from the Boeings to the latest Dreamliner 787. Women are flying as commanders, flying across the world, breaking all records. When you read through, you'll realize the stories of each one and how focused, dedicated, challenging it became, better it was for us to reach those skies. We didn't give up. So that is the reason why.
Thank you so much for inspiring us with the first answer itself, Manisha.
So about Beauty Queen, well, I was part of a lot of beauty pageants in my early 20s. And that was something I did for a good 4 years, in fact. So I was part of Femina, I was part of IMG, which existed at that time, doesn't exist anymore. And I was part of Miss India Worldwide, which I was first runner-up for as well. So it was actually while I was preparing for Miss India Worldwide that I was training myself. And I was grooming myself. And I was trying to prepare myself to go onto the international stage to represent my country. And that's when I discovered a serious lack of resource material for such things. I mean, you do have a lot of things online, yes, but very little of it is something that comes from your personal experiences, from a place of personal understanding. And not a lot of it is very, it doesn't go deep enough. It doesn't tell you what to expect at a pageant, how to deal with everything that you face. So there's a huge gap, obviously. And I wanted to fill that. I writing something I've always done, something that does come a little easily to me when compared to other things. So, yeah.
And, being a first-time author, the publishing journey is something which, tends to be a little difficult because we don't know a lot of nuances. I personally faced it myself. So my next question to both of you would be, what was the most difficult part of bringing this book to life? Like, as I keep saying that, it's a paper pregnancy, right? It's like a book baby. So I would want to, I think you would agree, right? Yeah. In Marathi, we say Sahityik Apatya. Apatya means a child. And yeah, so I would love to know what was the most challenging or difficult part of your publishing journey as a first time writer, first time author, sorry.
For Beauty Queen, it was luckily very smooth.
Okay.
It's not usually that.
Yeah, it is not. It is not. Yeah.
So I wrote the first draft and I sent it off to Siahi, who's a literary agency. They liked it and they wanted to pitch it. And it so happened that there were two publishing houses that wanted to pick it up. And we ended up picking one of them over the other. And it went very smoothly till then. Beyond that, well, I wrote this in 2014. And
It's 7 years.
Yes.
Almost.
It took a lot of time to edit it, to design it, because it's a very design heavy book as well. So it took a lot of time and there were lots of hiccups, personal hiccups from our side, from my illustrator's side. There were lots of things that happened. It's been a journey. And then the pandemic. Yes. So yeah, that's been the journey. It's been a journey of waiting. It's not been, it's been testing in the sense of you need a lot of patience. But apart from that, I've been very lucky with this book.
Wonderful. Wonderful to know that.
Anvita, after knowing you started in 2014, at least now I'm not worried. I didn't wait that long. I used to think, when will it get published? It's been so much since 2018 and I'm on it. And so I don't think, I know you went through much more than I did. But yes, but I had my shares. It wasn't a smooth sailing for me though. But I think my profession has taught me, you do get weather around, you do get hit right, left, center, but finally you reach the blue skies, calm and beautiful blue skies. And so that's where I was, first I sent my manuscript and, there was a lukewarm response to it. And I thought, am I doing the right thing? People don't want to know about women pilot, how silly they are. But then I kept on it. And then there was nice response for one or two till I reached my publisher who had as much passion I had, what I was writing. And they said, wow, we would like people to know about the stories of these amazing women. And so the book happened. So the journey was really like a little baby, like you said. It's really, you need to groom, you need to, every step, take time to give itself grow,
Yeah.
And finally, the pandemic took a little toll of 1 year backwards. And, it got slow in printing, publishing, designing. Everybody was in lockdown. My designer fell ill, she got COVID. And, all those things happened. But finally, we are right here, sitting with Shalaka, discussing our wonderful work. And I'm sure Anvita agrees. Though it's been a lot of hard work, effort, but I'm sure all of you will enjoy going through it. The final result is beautiful.
And I echo what Captain Manisha just said, because, the book titles themselves are really, really empowering. I mean, it has queen in your book and, from saris to stripes.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Shalaka, I want to add in here, if you don't mind, I'm cutting
Sure.
you. This title specially came saris to stripe because the first woman in our country was flying in a sari in 1935. And not only that, she had a ghungat, 35, can you imagine? Women out in a flying school in Lahore, which was part of India. And thanks to her father-in-law that she was flying. Because her husband said no, and father-in-law's one. And she is my inspiration. I met her when she was 93. And when she told me she used to fly in a sari, Manisha, she said, look, these are my pictures. And I used to fly. I said, ma'am, this is going to be my first chapter in the book. And it's going to be from saris to stripes. Because that's where we are. This is us, Indian tradition. We kept it, yet we can reach the skies. So that's how the title came up, actually. Thanks to Sarlaji, Captain Sarla Tukral, she's no more today, but saris gave the grace of us having our stripes, flying in pilot's uniform since we were in a commercial airline. We had the uniform like the male captains, and but we are us. We are women in saris with stripes striking all around the world. So you see this, it's sari to stripes.
Well,
I'm not boring you guys because I talk too much. That's what I always say. Be very careful, mom. You don't talk too much.
well, while we were talk about how empowering even the story of Sarlaji was, I want to understand from both of you what was the, in terms of the correlation of your stories in the books and, your publishing process. So a bit about that, could you share, Anvita?
I didn't quite understand.
Sorry. So what I was trying to ask was, the correlation of your life journey and the publishing process. How your life's lessons have helped you become a first-time author.
That's a very complicated question.
Uh,
um,
take a stab at it.
I have to. Well, there's actually there's really nothing similar in the world of publishing and in the world of pageantry. They're two very, very divergent worlds, to be very honest. Pageantry is all about putting yourself out there, being on stage, pushing yourself into the forefront. And there's a lot of that in publishing as well. There is a lot of that. But the process of writing is very different. You have to pull back, you have to go into yourself. And together, they're very complementary because you're exploring both sides. You're exploring the exterior and you're exploring the interior. So it does work well together. But I think that's as far as the correlation goes. Apart from that, the correlation that you would find is the correlation that you'd find in any other field. You have to persevere, you have to be patient, you have to work hard. That's true for anything that we do.
Even though my question was complicated, you just hit the right spot. I loved the answer. And, I love the fact that you said going on to the inside and the outside, because in the outside, in terms of publishing, your personal brand also stands taller than anything when you publish a book. And the same, taking the same question to you, Captain Manisha, what would be your thoughts be on, the correlation?
What she said, yes, it's a very complicated question, but it's a very nice question, I would say that. Because yes, there are a lot of similarities you can correlate with at least I'm thinking of my profession, to the steps I went into publishing the first author. Because it's not easy, people don't take you seriously or they don't feel their book will sell. And all publishing house is a business person who wants to know what is at the end of the day their profit. So the life's lesson that taught me in my profession, never say die, never give up in life. This is our profession, 33,000 feet up there, you are to handle. You have a single engine, hydraulic failure, or everything going wrong in that aircraft, but you have to bring it down safely on ground because you have those 200, 300 sitting with you. So this is what I did. I didn't give up. I kept hitting the doors of different publishing houses, kept convincing them that women as pilots are beautiful inside, outside. And they can write well and they can tell their stories, which will be inspiring. And finally, I hit the nail and I got my book published. So I think I correlated by really not giving up. I really had a publishing house which kept saying, no, this will never sell. People don't want to know about women pilots. And I said, no, people do want to know about women pilots. And I make sure people want to know.
If you never try, you never know.
Yeah. So I said, unless you read it yourself, you wouldn't know what wonderful women we are, what daring women we are, what focused, discipline, and completely handling every emergency, what life gives to us in every sphere, whether it's aircraft or outside, we just get tuned to handle. And that's how finally he says, yes, I think it sounds good. And we got it.
Anvita, talking of your profession, I would be really excited to know about your first pageant?
Like most
Because-
first, it was a disaster.
Because that's how you started, like that was your first stepping stone to beauty queen. So that I think I would be an interesting story for the audience as well.
Well, my first pageant was Femina Miss India South in 2009. And it was my first foray into pageantry. I'd never done anything of that sort. Today, you have 1,000 different pageants that you can participate in before you go on to something of that sort, something of that level. But back then, there was actually nothing of the sort. Femina South was the smallest pageant, credible pageant that you could find. So I went there. And first of all, it was a culture shock. It's a very taxing training schedule. You wake up at 5:30 in the morning and you can only go to sleep by 2:30 because you're studying and you're rehearsing and you're studying previous pageant contestants and you're going through grooming classes, whatnot. Plus you have your public appearances, etc. But why it was a disaster was not because of that. Why it was a disaster was because there were rumors that this pageant was rigged.
Oh,
And I was an idealist. So I had to put my foot forward and say, if it's rigged, we should do something about it. Let's all go up to the management and talk to them about it. So we all went up to the national director who was there. And 15 girls, because it's a small pageant, it's not very big. And we all walk up to him and we tell him, we address our concerns. We tell him, there are rumors flying around that the pageant is rigged. And if that's the case, what are we doing here? And he says, oh, so who thinks it's rigged? Anyone who thinks it's rigged, please step forward. I didn't look around me, I just stepped forward. I was the only one who stepped forward.
okay. Interesting.
And you can't blame the
Right,
others
of
also,
course.
because at the end of the day, you don't know.
Right.
When it's something of, when it's such a competitive thing, there are always going to be rumors. You have no idea if it's actually true or not.
Yeah.
And even if the person that you suspect wins, you still don't know if it's true.
True. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it ended up with me walking out of the pageant. And but my pageant story took a completely different journey after that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And while we're talking about that, and Beauty Queen is just not about the guide, but it also talks about a lot of history of pageantry in India
It is.
and worldwide. And it is analytical in nature. If you skim through the pages, you will see Excel sheets and charts and graphs that way, along with the beautiful illustrations that you have. So I would want to understand now that Harnaaz also got the crown after 21 years, and there have been too many talks about pageantry overall. I wanted to know that what are your thoughts if we are on the right course, and also if you could share that pageantry is beyond just the appearance, but if you could cover the mental aspect of the whole journey.
There are two things over here. One is, what do we mean by the right course? So if you ask me, anything that's healthy is the right course. But generally, when we talk about these things day to day, that's not what we're looking at. We're not looking at just what is being healthy as being on the right course. I know I'm getting a little confusing here. I'll just clarify that.
Sure.
What I'm trying to say is, we talk a lot about pageants objectifying women. We talk a lot about misogyny in pageants, etc., etc. But is it objectifying and is it misogynistic if it is what the person wants to do? If it is something the person really does want to do and it is not harming them or others around them,
Right.
is it the wrong course? Or are we saying it is the wrong course because for generations we've been tutored that?
It's a choice.
It's a choice at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if it's a free choice, then yes, we are on the right course.
Yeah.
As for other aspects of it, for like the competitive aspect of it, etc., it's not just pageantry. We live in a world which is extremely competitive and unhealthily so. We groom our kids to be competitive from the age that they can stand up. Whose kid is better than whom? How much did you score in your exams? Why are you not an engineer? Why are you not a doctor? This is the world we live in. We live in a country full of student suicides.
Correct.
So those are the questions we really need to answer. Because if it is something that a person wants to do, and if it is something that they're doing that is good for them in a healthy manner, and there's always a healthy way to do it, there's always an unhealthy way of doing it.
Absolutely.
For anything.
Yeah.
You can burn yourself out or you can build yourself up.
Absolutely. I love the line, by the way. You should tweet it. Moving to Manisha, the stories of women which we spoke about have, broke the glass ceiling, and your first chapter, which is Flight to Freedom. I would want you to talk a little about the chapter as well as read something about it.
Okay. Flight to Freedom is the first chapter in this book, and it comes with lots and lots of passion. Actually, it's all about the story, where and how I started. And even sitting today here, more than 30 years back, I still remember that small aircraft in Bhopal Flying Club where I took off. And the minute you get airborne, that feeling is so elated. It's so beautiful. You get airborne in the horizon and the beautiful sky up there. And then there was no looking back. It became dream bigger and better, and wanted to fly the most biggest and better aircraft. In those days, there was only one airlines, Indian Airlines and Air India in our country. And we used to see the Boeing aircrafts come from Delhi into Bhopal. And we used to just start dreaming that one day we want to sit in that aircraft and fly. And didn't give up till I managed to do that. There was a lot of hard work, dedication, lot of hurdles in between, lots and lots in those days. Women were not treated like, at par with men. And not only that, even in the flying school, the last thing that you knew that in 6 months, you would barely get 10 minutes of flying because the instructor fed you here to just time pass. And comments like, oh, she's going to get married and then what? She's going to be with her husband and children and that's the end. So why waste time here? But that was not it. We women proved it completely wrong. And till now, from the 60s that we've been flying in commercial airlines to now, none of us quit because we were married or we had children. None of us have given up. We are flying men to men, shoulder to shoulder, and handled all the emergencies, whether it was single engine, hydraulic failure, emergency landing, weather navigation, and everything. Breaking most of the world record is done by women. And the latest, if you guys read, and Captain Zoya, who flew the polar region, she's one of the junior now in the airlines. And so that was the flight to freedom. That was the freedom that we wanted to show that, given an opportunity, like she said, what you want to do, you should be allowed to do. And if you are passionate about it, you will do it and you will reach the sky. The competition is there. For us, the competition was different. We had to prove in more than 100% in our simulator check, in our exams. If the guy was doing okay, he was said, oh, you learn through. But if we didn't perform, so every step we put in 200% to prove that we are better than the guy. And we were. But no captain in those days wanted to give us A+ because he said, how can we have a woman sitting who's better than us? We came through those hurdles. And today, you'll find more women flying than men. Very soon, the aircrafts will be flown only by women. And I'm telling you, it'll be safer skies.
Could you just read 2-3 impactful lines from the chapter?
I'm going to read from the introduction. And my introduction says, some heroes have wings. So this is a Boeing 787. About an hour short of a landing, she got a message from the airline. Captain, for your information, we have just received a warning that there could be a bomb on board your flight. And the bomb explosion time is dash. She read the message twice over and made her co-pilot read it too before springing into action. Her landing time was 7 minutes after the explosion time mentioned. She took all corrective action, asking her co-pilot to perform the bomb on board checklist. She increased airspeed to the maximum permissible limit and maintained it, trying to reduce the time for her landing. Using all available means of aid, be it the air traffic control, the crew, or the satellite phone, she informed everybody concerned with her intention to land before the forewarned explosion time and asked for all assistance on landing. Keeping her speed in check even during descent and asking for direct routing wherever possible, she managed to get her landing time to 10 minutes before the time given to her. The big bird made it safely onto the runway, and she made the passenger announcement only during the final phase of her landing to ensure passengers remained calm. These are no fictional stories or anecdotes from books. These are real accounts of the women who have made it to the cockpit and have been flying commercial airlines in India since 1966. This lady is Captain Lakshmi. And as you go through these pages, you will find the accounts of all the women who have performed until date, they are performing. And I'm sure this little incident that my introduction actually brings you that we are also heroes and we have wings.
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you so much. Moving to you, Anvita. What was the most interesting part of writing the book? And could you like to read something from Beauty Queen?
The most interesting part was researching the history of beauty pageants. It's not something we usually go into. And I was surprised to find that beauty pageants actually have their origin in Greek mythology. So I just like to read a little bit from that.
Sure. And with that, we'll be concluding the sessions.
So the judgment of Paris. We all know about Paris, I'm assuming. Paris, Helen of Troy, the Trojan War.
Absolutely.
So the judgment of Paris is it's an ancient Greek mythological tale that describes the cause of the Trojan War. Most of us know about it only after reading Homer's Iliad, but the tale in the Iliad is only a brief allusion to the myth. Fuller versions of the story are narrated in Cypria, which is an old lost epic poem in ancient Greek literature. We only have fragments of it existing today. So the basic story goes as follows. There was a couple who were about to get married. Their names were Peleus, who was a mortal, and Thetis, who was I don't know how to pronounce this word, but I will attempt it, Nereid, a water nymph. Every single god and goddess in the Greek pantheon was invited to the wedding, except one, Eris, the goddess of discord. Looking back now, can you really blame them? Who on earth would want the goddess of discord at their wedding? Marriages are full of discord anyway. So Eris was upset that she was the only one who had not been invited. So she decided to gate crash and do what she was good at doing, creating discord. When the celebrations were on in full swing, Eris snuck in and threw an apple into the midst of the crowd, upon which was the inscription, "To the fairest." No one knew to whom the apple was addressed. And the question remained, who among them was the fairest of all? Hera, the goddess of marriage, women, and birth, felt that she deserved the apple, being the fairest. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, and sexuality, and Athena, the goddess of wisdom, courage, inspiration, civilization, law and justice, just warfare, mathematics, strength, strategy, arts, crafts, and skill. Yes, she was a woman with many talents, also felt the same. So they asked Zeus, the king of gods, to choose the fairest out of them all. Now, Zeus was in a fix. Hera, after all, was his wife, and she was known for her jealous nature. Therefore, he felt that it would be best if he simply delegated this task to someone else and let that person take the flak. And that's how Paris, a Trojan prince, came to be the judge of the first ever beauty pageant to be held on, well, probably not on earth, since the gods lived in their own heavenly abode. And this beauty pageant, as we put it, came to be known as the Judgment of Paris.
That's so wonderful. I mean, this is a lesser known fact, of course. I mean, I mean, I got so intrigued when I was listening to the mythology, and of course I didn't know about it. And with this, we are concluding the session. And thank you, Bangalore Literature Fest, as well as Captain Manisha and Anvita for being here today. It was a pleasure interacting with you.